Welcome to the law offices of Chris M. Ingram's Immigration News Show. Today we ask, can proof beat Visa luck? We would like to thank attorney Chris M. Ingram and staff at the law offices of Chris M. Ingram for their hard work in preparing the research for this show, which draws on a wide variety of news sources from both sides of the aisle, providing a balanced view. Attorney Ingram is also a vocal advocate for the rights and protection of immigration applicants, although our coverage is designed to be nonpartisan. Please don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our channel. We are also on Spotify, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, X, Reddit, and Instagram, where we're growing rapidly thanks to our social media team. You can also visit our website on www.breakthroughUSA.com. We'd love to see you there. Disclaimer. Please note that this presentation should not be intended as legal advice for your specific situation. If you, a friend, or a family member would like a free consultation, you can visit our website at www.breakthroughUSA.com and schedule an appointment. We'd love to hear from you and help you if we can. We also like to point out that this presentation was created using AI hosts. Okay, let's dive in.
You know, that question you just posed, it really gets to the heart of the core conflict for thousands of high-skilled professionals in the U.S. right now.
It's this huge disconnect, isn't it?
It is. I mean, you have all this talent, this incredible education, and you're making these massive contributions to the economy.
Right.
And all of that provides you with opportunity. But then, when it comes to long-term stability, it all sort of gets pushed aside for, what, a random number?
A lottery ball. A date on a spreadsheet.
Exactly. A date on a spreadsheet, an administrative cap. It's a tough reality. And our mission today is to really unpack that conflict.
Yeah, we want to get past the general frustration and actually look at the legal research.
That's it. We want to ground this conversation in facts, in the systems, the numbers, and the policy proposals that are shaping the future for STEM workers as we speak.
And we have a really robust stack of research here put together by attorney Chris M. Ingram and his team. So we're going deep today. We're really charting a course through, I think, 4 critical intersections that define this whole landscape.
That's right. We'll start with a success story, a really powerful one, actually, that shows how documented achievement can sometimes bypass the whole lottery system. That's the O1 visa path.
Okay.
Then we're going to pivot, and pivot hard, to the official data. We're talking congressional findings, the State Department's Visa Bulletin, to really understand the decade-spanning reality of these green card backlogs.
And from there, the policy response, I assume.
Exactly. The slow, systemic reforms being proposed, like the HIRE Act, and we'll contrast that with the immediate administrative overhaul of the H-1B lottery that's happening right now.
And finally, we tie it all together with the human element.
We have to. We'll explore how all these legal technicalities, all these numbers translate into profound uncertainty for families, for careers. The goal, really, is to provide you, the listener, with the context you need to build your own strategy, to turn that fear into a plan.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're starting with what our team called the proof beats luck story. It's the journey of a man named Tanush Sharanarthi. And this isn't just a feel-good story, it's really a strategic blueprint.
It is. He's a tech professional, originally from Bengaluru, now at IBM in California. And his story starts exactly where so many people find themselves, just stuck in the grip of the H-1B lottery.
The merciless grip, I think, is a good way to put it.
It really is. His story just perfectly encapsulates the professional absurdity of that system. He was rejected 3 times.
3 times.
3 times. And he publicly said he felt like the unluckiest person in Vegas.
That's a great analogy.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Because it captures that fundamental disconnect. Here you are, a proven asset, a high-value contributor, and yet your entire future is being decided by a random spin of the wheel. For 3 years, his career was just stalled by chance.
Yeah. And I think that violates the very ethos of a STEM professional, right? These are people who build their lives on logic, on data, on quantifiable results. To have your biggest life decisions reduced to probability is it's got to be demoralizing.
Absolutely. But his turning point is where the strategy really comes into play.
This is the important part.
It is. He realized he couldn't control the lottery. So, as he put it, he went all in on what he could control. And that meant, well, it meant late nights. Not just coding for his job, but building new products, publishing research, really contributing to his field, which is artificial intelligence.
So he shifted his focus.
He shifted from focusing on the visa application itself to rigorously documenting his professional impact. And that pivot is what led him directly to an O1 visa approval.
The so-called Einstein visa.
The Einstein visa, or the alien of extraordinary ability. His conclusion, which attorney Chris Ingram's team highlighted, was simple. Turns out, consistency pays better than the lottery.
That is the core message. But here's where I want to push back a little, because I think for a lot of our listeners, the O1 just sounds unreachable.
Yeah.
You know, you hear extraordinary ability and you think Nobel Prize winners, founders of unicorns.
Of course.
So how does Sharanarthi's experience make this practical for, say, a high-performing engineer or a data scientist who is brilliant, but maybe not a household name yet?
That is the most critical distinction to make, and it's something our legal team emphasizes constantly. The O1 is not a celebrity visa. It's a criteria-based visa. That's the key.
Okay, what does that mean in practice?
It means the law requires you to satisfy at least 3 out of 8 specific categories, or, have a one-time huge achievement like a Pulitzer or an Olympic medal. But for the professional STEM worker, the focus is entirely on meeting 3 of those 8 criteria.
So it's a checklist, not a judgment of fame.
Precisely. Sharanarthi's success reframes extraordinary ability into practical, measurable steps. His entire application was built on tangible proof. Things like published work on artificial intelligence, serving as a judge for hackathons, and reviewing papers for conference journals. These are concrete actions.
Let's break those down, because those 3 categories actually sound very achievable if someone is intentional about it. When we say published work, what's the actual threshold? Does it have to be in a top-tier journal?
Not necessarily. The standard of proof isn't that you have to be a world-famous author. It's that your contribution has to be significant and original within your specific field.
So niche matters.
Niche matters a lot. For an AI professional, that could mean peer-reviewed conference proceedings, which are highly respected. It could be a journal article in a specialized area. It could even be, a detailed technical white paper that's recognized as authoritative by an industry group. The key is that the work shows original thought and is documented as such.
And what about that judging and reviewing criteria? How do you prove that? Because a lot of that starts informally, right? A colleague asks you to review their paper, or an organizer asks you to help judge a competition.
You have to systematize the documentation. That's the crucial step. If you review papers for a conference, you need to save the official invitation from the committee. You need the confirmation emails. If you judge a hackathon, you need the program that lists you as a judge.
So you're building a case file.
You're building a case file. The formal criterion is judging the work of others in your field. It's direct proof that your peers see you as an authority. And for Sharanarthi, his 6 years of consistent contributions show that these weren't just one-off events. It was a sustained pattern of excellence.
So the big insight here is that most high-skilled professionals are probably already doing the work that qualifies them. They're doing specialized research, they're mentoring peers, maybe they're helping set industry standards.
They all said are.
The O1 path just forces them to document it and frame it as a legal narrative.
Precisely. It shifts the focus from your employer's need for you, which is the H-1B model, to your inherent value to your entire field globally. Our legal team says it all the time. You have to see your career as a continuously accumulating body of evidence.
Let's talk about the practical barrier, though. An H-1B, lottery aside, is pretty straightforward. An O-1 requires months of gathering evidence, getting recommendation letters, the legal work. It's a bigger investment of time and money.
It is. It's a significant investment, no question. It's more intensive legally, and yes, it's more expensive than a standard H-1B filing. But you have to weigh that against the alternative.
Which is what, another 3 years of playing the lottery?
Exactly. Another 3 years where your chance of success is, 15%? Maybe less. For someone who has a PhD or is a seasoned senior engineer with patents and publications, they are already positioned for O1 success. The odds are much, much higher than the lottery.
So the cost-benefit analysis changes.
It does. The investment shifts from being a risk to being a strategy for stability.
Yeah.
As attorney Chris Ingram puts it, this path is about creating leverage. It's choosing a merit-based system over a chance-based one.
And Sharanarthi's own advice really sums it up. Be passionate about your field and contribute to it. The rest follows.
It's the perfect way to look at it. The documentation should be a natural byproduct of your professional excellence. It turns your dedication into legal security. And this is so important because your value is not defined by a lottery number. By building this documented impact, you create options. You turn fear into a plan.
And having that plan, that stability, is what allows you to weather the next storm we need to talk about.
Yes, this is where we have to pivot. Because his story, inspiring as it is, highlights the massive systemic wall that everyone else is facing, the green card backlogs.
They said my EB1 needed more categories. I can't even dock. What am I gonna do?
I need to find the right lawyer that can navigate me through this crisis. I need my EB1 so my new life can begin. These lawyers are amazing. They are walking me through every questions, making sure I don't miss a thing. Thanks to the law offices of Chris M. Ingram, I'm cleared to land. But my career is gonna take off.
Houston. He got his visa.
Need help with your visa? Book your free consultation now at www.breakthroughusa.com and let us take care of you.
Right, sure, Narthi found a way to control his fate, but his story really just underscores the constraint that the other 99% are dealing with. We're moving from individual proof now to the crushing weight of systemic policy. And this is where, as he said, it gets really interesting because we're looking at the official government data.
The shift from the O1 strategy to the green card reality is, well, it's jarring. The root of the problem is the structural limitation of numerical caps. Employment-based green cards are capped at a minimum of 140,000 worldwide each year. But the real choke point, the thing that creates these decades-long waits, is the 7% per country limit.
And that 7% limit is so crucial to understand. The original intent was to promote diversity, right? To make sure no single country dominated the immigration flow.
That was the idea. But for countries with huge populations and highly educated workforces contributing massively to the U.S. STEM economy like India and China, that 7% limit has become a crippling bottleneck.
It's just simple math at that point.
It is. It creates a multiplier effect on the backlog. I mean, if 70% of the global demand for, say, an EB2 visa comes from one country, but that country is legally capped at only 7% of the total visas, the line just gets longer and longer, until it stretches beyond a human lifetime.
And that's not an exaggeration, that's a factual assessment.
It's a factual assessment from the nonpartisan research arm of Congress. Our legal team points directly to the Congressional Research Service, or CRS, report on this, and the language they use is incredibly stark.
Remind us of that specific finding, it's so powerful.
The CRS report states, and I'm quoting the essence of it, that Indian nationals can expect to wait decades to receive a green card. For some, the waits will exceed their lifetimes.
Let that sink in. An official, nonpartisan government analysis is confirming that a 25-year-old engineer starting their career today might die before their turn for a green card comes up.
It's a staggering statement. Yeah. And to make it tangible, we have to look at the mechanism that governs these waits. The Department of State's Visa Bulletin. This isn't just a chart of dates. This is the calendar that controls people's lives.
Okay, so let's use the December 2025 Visa Bulletin that our team reviewed. Walk us through the number.
Okay. So there are two critical columns to watch: the final action date and the dates for filing. Let's look at the employment-based categories for India. For EB2, the final action date was May 15th, 2013.
2013. So they're only now issuing green cards to people who started the process over a decade ago.
Over a decade ago. That's the true length of the line. For EB3 India, it was September 22nd, 2013. Again, a massive wait.
But you mentioned a second date, the dates for filing.
I did. This is a crucial distinction. The dates for filing allow applicants to submit their final green card application, the adjustment of status, or AOS, sooner. And this provides some immediate, though temporary, relief.
How much sooner are we talking?
In that December 2025 bulletin, those dates were slightly better. EB2 India was at December 1st, 2013, and EB3 India was August 15th, 2014. Still a huge backlog, but a little better.
We need to spend a minute on this distinction because it's so important. What is the practical difference for someone between their final action date being current versus their date for filing being current? What are the benefits of getting that AOS application in the door?
It's a life-changing difference. The final action date is when USCIS can actually approve your application and hand you the green card. The dates for filing is when you can simply submit the application.
And just submitting it unlocks benefits.
It unlocks huge benefits, even if the final green card is years away. The main ones are the Employment Authorization Document, the EAD, and Advanced Parole for travel.
The EAD, that's the game changer.
It's a total game changer. It allows the applicant and their spouse to work for any employer. You are no longer tied to your H-1B sponsor. The spouse, who might have been unable to work on an H-4 visa, can now pursue their own career without restriction.
And the Advanced Parole?
That lets you travel internationally and re-enter the U.S. without needing a valid visa stamp in your passport. It completely mitigates the risk of getting stuck abroad because of a consular delay, which we'll talk more about later. It stabilizes your life.
So the final action date is the finish line, but the date for filing is the start of the stability period. And the government decides each month which chart to use.
Correct. That decision, made monthly, directly impacts the freedom and mobility of hundreds of thousands of high-skilled workers. It's an immense amount of pressure. And the consequences of these waits go way beyond bureaucracy. They affect core life decisions.
Like job mobility.
Exactly. You're hesitant to take a promotion if it changes your job description too much. You're scared to switch employers or join a startup because you don't want to disrupt your green card timeline. It creates professional stagnation.
And then there's the family impact, the aging out problem. This is one of the most heartbreaking parts of the backlog.
It is truly devastating. The Child Status Protection Act, or CSPA, is supposed to protect dependent children from losing eligibility if they turn 21 during the process. But the formula is complex, and these extreme backlogs just break it.
How does it work or not work in this case?
Well, basically, a child's CSPA age is calculated when the priority date finally comes current. It's their actual age minus the time the I-140 petition was pending. But if the wait is 10 or 15 years, it's very easy for that CSPA age to still be over 21.
And then what happens?
They age out. They lose their spot as a dependent. They have to find their own separate and often very long path to stay in the country. It can force families apart.
So this systemic delay forces parents to plan their entire lives, even when to have children, around this unpredictable moving goalpost.
It's a psychological trap. You're an innovator, trained to fix broken systems. But this is the one system you can only endure. And attorney Chris Ingram's counsel here is vital. These backlogs can make you feel invisible, like a number, but you're not. And acknowledging this reality is the first step toward a strategy that protects your family while you wait.
Okay, so given this hard reality of a decades-long wait, what are lawmakers and administrators actually doing about it? Let's move into the policy response. We're looking at the big, slow changes like the HIRE Act versus the fast, immediate changes to the lottery system.
You know, the policy world is operating under a huge contradiction.
Yeah.
There's this wide consensus among economists that high-skilled immigration is essential for growth.
Right.
But legislative reform is incredibly difficult because of all the other political friction around immigration.
So what have they been trying to do? Let's talk about the IRE Act.
The HIRE Act has been one of the main proposals trying to fix this mismatch between talent demand and visa supply. Our legal team reviewed a prior version, and it aimed for two really major changes.
What were they?
First, a simple volume fix. Increase the annual H-1B cap. The proposal was to basically double it, from 65,000 to 130,000.
That would certainly help the lottery odds.
It would. But the second change was maybe even more structurally significant. It proposed expanding the master's cap exemption.
So right now, there are 20,000 extra visas for those with a U.S. master's or higher.
Correct. The HIRE Act proposed to exempt all individuals with a postgraduate degree from a U.S. institution from the cap entirely.
Wow, that would completely change the game for international students. It creates a much more certain path for them after they graduate from an American university.
It would. But again, these kinds of common sense, economically beneficial proposals consistently stall in Congress.
Why? What's the holdup?
It's that classic tension. Supporters talk about economic benefit and innovation. Critics raise concerns about protecting domestic workers and preventing wage depression. And finding a balance that can pass both houses of Congress is, well, it's been nearly impossible.
But the effort is still alive.
It is. Our team noted that Rep. Baraja Krishnamurthy introduced a new bill in late 2025 to expand H-1B availability. So the legislative effort continues. It's just very, very slow.
Which brings us to the immediate administrative changes. Because while Congress moves slowly, DHS can change the rules of the game on its own. And that's what's happening with the lottery overhaul.
This is the most pressing change for anyone listening. As our researchers tracked in December 2025, DHS is replacing the random lottery with a new weighted selection process. And the implementation date is set February 27th, 2026. This is happening.
And the reason is to stop abuse of the old system. What kind of abuse were they saying?
The old registration system was easy to exploit. Some companies, often called body shops, would file hundreds, even thousands of registrations for workers, sometimes collaborating to file multiple times for the same person.
Just to flood the system and increase their odds.
Exactly. And it massively skewed the odds for low-wage jobs, crowding out legitimate employers who only submitted one registration per applicant. A USCIS spokesperson basically said the old system was being abused by employers looking to import workers at lower wages.
So the new weighted system is designed to reward value over volume. How will they actually weigh the applications? What are the criteria?
The final rules will give us the exact details, but based on the stated rationale, the weighting will almost certainly be tied to the prevailing wage levels set by the Department of Labor.
The 4 wage levels.
The 4 wage levels. Level 1 is entry level, level 4 is for highly experienced workers. The logic is that a petition filed for a level 4 wage, a high salary for a high-skilled job, would get a much greater chance of selection than one filed at level 1.
It's a direct incentive for employers to offer higher pay for top talent.
It is. It's a mechanism to align the visa process with genuine, high-skilled labor shortages, not just filling seats cheaply. It may also factor in degree level, but the wage level seems to be the most direct tool to combat the specific abuse they identified.
So this fundamentally changes the strategy. It's no longer about how many registrations you can file. It's about the quality and compensation of the job you're offering.
It is.
There are just too many visas out there, and I don't know which one is right for us. We need to get the right advice.
Communication is everything, and I just need someone who will listen and guide me to the right visa type, and not make promises that they can't deliver.
There are so many documents. I need someone to walk me through each one. I can't afford to make any mistakes.
If I can just find a lawyer who understands my potential, I know America will be an excellent opportunity for me and my family.
Welcome to the law offices of Chris M. Ingram, and we are your immigration lawyers, and we will be with you every step of the way in your immigration journey.
At the law office of Chris M. Ingram, you get a free consultation so we can understand your needs.
We don't make promises we can't keep. Our success rate speaks for itself. Join us and access your step-by-step video guides that answer every visa question.
Their platform is amazing. There are videos that instruct you on everything you have to do. It meant we were in control and we could do it in our own time.
They couldn't have been more helpful. They answered every question that I had, and it was easy to see they were the lawyers for me.
I couldn't believe it with my busy schedule. They always had time to talk to me and put me at ease. That's what I like about them.
So go on our website and get your free consultation now, and your new life is about to begin.
Ask me.
We did it! We did it!
We did it!
Oh my God, I got my visa! Yes, I did it!
And we have to be balanced here. Supporters say this makes the system more meritocratic and fairer.
But the counter-argument.
The critics worry it could disadvantage smaller companies, startups, or nonprofits that have a real need for talent, but just can't afford to pay those top-tier, level 4 prevailing wages.
So the tension remains.
It does. How do you protect domestic workers while also keeping America competitive for global talent? As attorney Chris Ingram says, high-skilled immigrants are people who build, heal, invent, and teach. Any good reform has to honor both truths.
The bottom line, though, is that the rules for entry are changing right now. The lottery is shifting to reward compensation and experience, and that's something you have to factor into your career strategy immediately.
Which brings us full circle, back to the human cost of all this policy and data. We've seen the systemic delays, the decades-long waits, the administrative shifts. Now let's focus on the intimate, personal disruption this creates.
Exactly. Let's look at that sudden, unpredictable disruption. Our researchers found reports from late 2025 about Indian H-1B workers traveling abroad for simple visa renewals and getting stuck. What was happening there?
This was tied to a spike in something called administrative processing, or AP. It's often the result of enhanced screening procedures from the State Department aimed at national security. A State Department email our team reviewed said the goal was to ensure no applicants pose a threat to the U.S. national security or public safety.
And of course, security screening is necessary, but for the professional who is already established in the U.S., a taxpayer, a known quantity, to get trapped in an opaque, month-long process is just devastating.
It creates a tremendous strain. A trip home that should take 2 weeks suddenly becomes a 3 or 4 month nightmare of uncertainty. You're separated from your family, your job is at risk, and you have no control over the process.
And this immediate, acute risk is layered on top of the chronic, long-term hardship of the backlogs we already talked about.
It is. That CRS warning about waits exceeding lifetimes means families are living in this constant state of prolonged limbo.
Let's just reinforce those tangible long-term hardships again. What are the major outcomes?
We see three main ones. First, there's the constant separation risk. A spouse or child could be abroad when a delay happens, an AP delay, a sudden retrogression of dates, and suddenly the family is forced apart.
Then there's the career.
Yes, career vulnerability. Even the most valuable employee can lose their job if they can't get back to work on time. A company's project deadlines can't always wait for government processing.
And the third one is maybe the most corrosive.
It is. It's the emotional erosion. Years and years of living with this baseline anxiety. You postpone buying a home, you postpone starting a family, because your foundational status is so fragile.
It's that structural irony again. The people best at optimizing systems are stuck in one they can only endure.
Absolutely. The structural constraints, the 140,000 cap, the 7% country limit, are the immovable objects. So the individual has to find the levers they can control. And Attorney Chris Ingram's counsel here is so important and so human. Your family's unity is just as important as your resume. Feeling anxious about this is a normal human response. The goal has to be building a plan that protects your loved ones while you continue to build your future.
We've covered a huge amount of ground today. We've gone from the O1 success story to the hard data of the backlogs, the policy debates, and the real human cost. Let's try to summarize the essential takeaways for everyone listening.
I think the first key takeaway is about strategy. The O1 story shows that consistent, documented professional work, your publications, your peer reviews, your leadership, can create a path to stability that actually bypasses the randomness of the lottery.
So proof can beat luck, if you're strategic about it.
It can. Second, the backlogs are a hard, decades-long reality. The CRS has officially documented this. So you have to plan for the extreme long-term and focus on getting those adjustment of status benefits whenever the dates for filing chart opens up.
Third, policy is moving on two different speeds. Big legislative changes like the Hire Act are slow, but administrative rules are changing fast.
Very fast. That DHS overhaul of the H-1B lottery to a weighted system is a critical, immediate shift. It's going to prioritize higher paid workers, so you have to be thinking about your prevailing wage level right now.
And fourth, all of this has real, intimate consequences for families. Whether it's sudden travel uncertainty or that long-term emotional erosion, you have to understand the mechanics of the system to protect yourself and your stability.
And we have to remember the economic context behind all of this. It's what makes fixing this system so urgent. The research our legal team pulled together shows a clear consensus among top economists.
Right, people like Gianni Perry.
Exactly. His work shows that high-skilled immigrants expand the economy's productive capacity. They stimulate investment, they boost productivity, they create jobs.
And the National Academies agrees, finding an overall positive impact on long-run economic growth. Economist Michael Clemens put it very bluntly, restricting high-skilled immigration is a blow to American innovation.
It is, and that consensus just highlights the absurdity of the current bottlenecks. Attorney Chris Ingram's closing counsel really summarizes this well. He says that STEM immigrants don't just fill roles, they expand what's possible.
That's a great line.
It is. And his advice to you, the listener, is to stay informed, stay organized, and don't let the uncertainty convince you that your future is fragile. A strong, documented strategy turns your work into your strongest proof.
Which brings us to our final thought for you to take away from this deep dive. Something to mull over. If documented proof and consistent contribution, like we saw in the O1 path, are the most reliable levers for stability in the system, then how can you, as a high-skilled professional, integrate documentation and narrative building into your daily professional routine?
It's about making your work legally relevant, tying it to specific USCIS criteria, regardless of your current visa category.
It's about building an unassailable portfolio of proof that prepares you for every opportunity. Thank you so much for being with us today. We hope you gained a lot from this discussion. Please leave us a comment if you can. Additionally, you can support our channel by sharing it with your friends and family, helping us build this community together. Also, follow us on Spotify, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and Instagram, where we're growing rapidly thanks to our social media team. We would also like to thank Attorney Chris Ingram and his dedicated team once again for researching and preparing this material for our presentation. See you next time on Let's Talk U.S. Immigration. Bye for now.